Provision follows revelation. That is the first and foundational spiritual principle you must understand if you want to see supply manifest quickly in your life. God does not respond to panic, He responds to faith, and faith is born where revelation has entered the heart. You cannot believe beyond what you see in the Word. When divine light shines on a promise and it becomes real to you, faith rises automatically. You do not struggle to believe what has been revealed to your spirit. Many people are asking God for provision while ignoring the light He has already given them. They read the promises casually, but revelation requires meditation. When you take time to think on the word, speak it, and personalize it, something shifts inside you. It moves from being ink on a page to becoming living truth in your spirit. That living truth produces confidence, and confidence produces action. Revelation changes your perception of lack. Before revelation, you see bills, shortages, and obstacles. After revelation, you see supply stored up in the unseen realm. You begin to understand that heaven operates on abundance, not limitation. God is not creating your provision when you pray. He has already made it available. Prayer does not manufacture supply. It connects you to what has already been provided. When revelation comes, fear loses its grip. Fear thrives in darkness, but light exposes it. The moment you truly see that God has promised to meet your needs, anxiety begins to fade. Faith is simply acting on revealed truth. If you have not seen it, you will struggle to act. But once it becomes clear in your heart, action becomes natural. Revelation also aligns your thinking with heaven's economy. The world system says resources are scarce and you must compete to survive. Revelation says your source is not your job, not the market, not people. Your source is God. Jobs are channels. Businesses are channels. People are channels. But the source remains constant. When you understand this, you stop panicking when a channel changes because you know the source never changes. This kind of revelation transforms your speech. Instead of speaking what you see, you begin speaking what has been revealed. You declare provision even when you cannot see it yet. That declaration is not denial of reality. It is agreement with a higher reality. The unseen realm responds to agreement with truth. Revelation also produces rest. Striving comes from uncertainty. When you are unsure, you push force and worry. But when you know that supply has already been established in the Spirit, you operate from a place of peace. Peace does not mean passivity. It means confident expectation. You continue to work, plan, and act, but without fear-driven pressure. The speed of provision is often connected to the depth of revelation. Surface understanding produces weak faith. Deep revelation produces strong faith. Strong faith does not waver when circumstances fluctuate. It remains steady because it is anchored in truth that has been seen clearly in the heart. As revelation increases, your capacity to receive increases. You cannot receive what you do not believe belongs to you. But once the Word convinces you inwardly, you step into a different level of expectancy. Expectancy is the atmosphere where provision moves quickly. Seed time and harvest is an unbreakable spiritual law woven into creation itself. From the very beginning, God established that as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest will not cease. This is not merely an agricultural principle, it is a kingdom principle. Every result begins as a seed. Every increase starts with something released. Nothing multiplies until something is first sown. Many people desire harvest, but they hesitate at seed time. They want increase without release, yet the law is clear: what you keep remains as it is, but what you sow has the potential to multiply. A seed in your hand can feed you once. A seed planted in good ground can feed you for seasons to come. The act of sowing is an act of trust. It declares that you believe there is more where that came from. Giving is not a financial transaction alone. It is a spiritual act that sets forces in motion. When you sow in faith, you are participating in a covenant system designed by God. You are acknowledging that He is your source and that your supply does not end with what you currently see. The moment a seed leaves your hand in obedience and faith, It does not disappear, it enters your future. The size of the harvest is connected to the seed sown. This is not pressure, it is principle. A farmer who sows sparingly does not expect fields overflowing with crops. In the same way, generous sowing positions you for generous reaping. The measure you use determines the measure that returns. This law operates consistently, regardless of emotions or circumstances. Timing is also part of this law. After sowing comes a period where nothing appears to be happening. Beneath the surface, however, life is developing. Roots are forming. Growth is taking place out of sight. Impatience during this stage has caused many to give up. They dig up their seed with doubt and negative words before harvest can manifest. Faith understands that unseen activity is still activity. Your attitude at seed time affects your harvest. If you sow grudgingly, you limit the joy and expectation connected to your giving. But when you sow cheerfully with confidence in God's ability to multiply, you create an atmosphere of faith. Expectation waters the seed. Words of faith protect it. Gratitude strengthens it. Seed time and harvest extends beyond finances. Words are seeds. Actions are seeds. Time invested is seed. Kindness shown is seed. Everything you release has the potential to return in multiplied form. When you understand this, you become intentional about what you sow. You stop scattering negative words carelessly and begin planting deliberately. The soil matters as well. Good ground produces strong harvests. Sowing into fertile, God-directed areas ensures that your seed is positioned for increase. Discernment helps you recognize where to plant so that what you release aligns with divine purpose. Consistency activates this law in greater measure. One seed may produce a harvest, but ongoing sowing establishes a cycle. As harvest returns, part of it becomes new seed. This cycle creates momentum. Over time, what began as small acts of faith grows into significant provision. The law remains constant, responding faithfully to every seed placed into the ground in trust and obedience. Believe it, speak it, and act on it. This is where many miss the acceleration of provision. They may believe in their hearts, but they remain silent. Or they speak boldly, yet their actions contradict their confession. The supernatural flow is released when heart, mouth, and movement align together. Faith is not passive agreement, it is active cooperation with what God has said. Believing is the foundation. True belief is not mental acknowledgement. It is inward conviction. It is being fully persuaded that what God promised is already established in the unseen realm. When you reach that place of persuasion, doubt may knock at the door, but it does not take residence. Circumstances may challenge you, but they do not dominate your thinking. Real belief settles the issue internally before it ever manifests externally. Speaking is the next vital component. Words are spiritual instruments. They frame your expectation and shape your atmosphere. When you continually declare lack, you reinforce limitation in your thinking. When you declare provision according to God's promise, you strengthen faith within your heart. Speaking is not about trying to convince God, it is about establishing agreement. Faith-filled words align you with heaven's reality. There is creative power in consistent confession. When you wake up and declare that your needs are met, you are not ignoring facts. You are acknowledging a higher truth. Your words become seeds planted into your own spirit. Over time, they grow into unshakable confidence. The unseen realm responds to alignment. When your mouth agrees with what God has spoken, spiritual momentum begins to build. Action completes the cycle. Faith without action remains incomplete. Action does not earn provision, it demonstrates trust. If you believe increase is coming, you prepare for it. If you believe doors are opening, you position yourself to walk through them. Acting in faith may seem small at first, but it signals expectation. It tells the unseen realm that you are ready to receive. Alignment is crucial. If you say you trust God but act in fear, there is conflict. If you declare abundance but hoard in anxiety, your actions undermine your words. The power is released when belief, confession, and behavior move in the same direction. This harmony creates acceleration. Pressure often reveals misalignment. Under stress, people revert to old patterns of speech and reaction. That is why discipline is necessary. Guard your heart so belief remains strong. Guard your mouth so confession stays consistent. Guard your actions so they reflect trust rather than panic. When you consistently believe what has been revealed, speak in agreement with it and act as though it is already working. You step into a higher level of spiritual authority. You are no longer reacting to circumstances, you are responding to promise. This response keeps faith active and engaged. Small acts of aligned faith produce cumulative results. Each declaration reinforces belief. Each step of obedience strengthens confidence. Over time, the flow becomes natural. You think in faith, speak in faith, and move in faith. In that atmosphere, provision is no longer distant or delayed, but begins to manifest with increasing consistency. Provision often moves at the speed of obedience. When God deals with your heart about an action, the timing of your response matters. Delayed obedience can slow down what heaven is ready to release. The instruction may seem small, simple, or even unrelated to your need, but divine direction is never random. Every prompting carries purpose, and every act of obedience positions you closer to manifestation. Obedience requires sensitivity. The Spirit of God does not always shout. Often He leads with a gentle impression, a quiet knowing inside. If you are distracted by fear, worry, or constant noise, you may overlook that leading. Learning to pause, listen, and respond quickly strengthens your spiritual awareness. The more you practice responding, the clearer His direction becomes. Sometimes obedience involves giving when it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it involves stepping out into a new opportunity. Other times it means making a correction, ending a wrong habit, or aligning your priorities. The specific instruction may vary, but the principle remains the same. Swift obedience keeps the channel open. Resistance creates friction. Compliance creates flow. Many people pray for acceleration while hesitating at instruction. They ask for increase but delay when told to act. Obedience is the bridge between promise and manifestation. It demonstrates trust beyond words. Anyone can declare faith when no action is required. Real trust is proven when you move before you see the outcome. Obedience also protects you from unnecessary delay. There are moments when a door is open for a specific season. If you hesitate too long, that season may pass. God is merciful and provides new opportunities, but immediate response often brings quicker results. Faith recognizes divine timing and values it. Courage is often required. Obedience can challenge logic and comfort. It may require stepping beyond familiar patterns. Fear will attempt to analyze every risk and predict every possible failure. But faith focuses on the one who gave the instruction. Confidence in His character strengthens your resolve to move forward. Small acts of obedience build spiritual momentum. Each time you respond promptly, you reinforce a habit of trust. Over time, obedience becomes less about struggle and more about reflex. Your spirit becomes trained to follow direction quickly. This responsiveness increases sensitivity and positions you for greater assignments. Obedience is not about perfection, it is about willingness. Even if you do not understand the full picture, you move because you trust the one who sees the end from the beginning. Understanding often follows action. Clarity grows as you step forward. There is also protection in obedience. When you follow divine instruction, you are guided away from pitfalls you may not see. Provision is not only about increase, it is also about preservation. Avoiding loss is part of supply. Obedience keeps you aligned with paths prepared ahead of time. As you cultivate a lifestyle of swift response, you begin to notice how quickly things shift. Opportunities align, resources appear, connections form. The rhythm of your life starts to reflect trust in motion. Instead of hesitating at every prompting, you move with confidence, knowing that obedience keeps you synchronized with the flow of divine provision.